Hello, everyone. David here again. So, in my first video, in an earlier video, I spoke about fear and the impact it has in limiting us from achieving anything, really. Um, I think I rambled on about how it limits us, how it prevents us from, achieving our goal or getting to that space where we consider ourselves successful. And success can mean anything different things to many people. But the reality is, whatever it means to you, when you come together to say, oh, I do want to do this or get to achieve that, or put something in place where I feel I can excel at, or do something that I really feel would speak towards success for me as a person. We get that feeling that tells us, what if you fail? What if people don't like it? What if people don't buy your product? What if people don't, subscribe to what you're trying to sell or agree with you in that context? So many what ifs. And I did say in my last video that the moment you cross that fear threshold and you're able to move past it and get to do that thing you want to do, um, you generally realize that almost every time it is always worth the effort. I mean, the amount of time you put into getting this thing done, the work you put into it, the fact that you get past that space where where something in your mind is limiting you, or that wall in your face is telling you you cannot get this or you cannot succeed. The moment you move past it, it's always worth the while. It's always worth the effort. It's always something that you come around and say, oh yes, I did this. You learn, you grow, you get better, you become a lot more confident. And we really can't, we're not even going to go into the space of confidence right now, because that is an entirely different thread of, that affects us in so many ways. You find someone who's confident, they are willing to try things, they are willing to do things, attempt new, delve into new unknown waters, just try things because they are confident, they believe in their own abilities, and that in itself is a driver. But now let's talk about how we can actually deal with this feeling of fear, this feeling that, oh, maybe, just maybe, I might not, if I do this, maybe I may not succeed in it. Maybe I might not get to where I want to be at. How do you deal with that process? How do you get yourself to be in a space where now you can confidently do something? Or even not confidently, but you do it nonetheless, because, of course, you're just trying to build yourself to a space where you can be better or be more knowledgeable. You're striving towards perfection, as we all call it. I think the first step is to know that, oh, this thing that is speaking to me is just trying to limit me. You're acknowledging that, oh, this voice, I hear you, but you're not going to stop me. So, yes, I know it's there. I know that something is just telling me, don't attempt it. Don't try this new thing. Don't venture into the unknown. Stay in your safe zone. Just stay in the comfort zone of where you are. Stay on that job that, you just wake up every now and then, that 9 to 5 that keeps you bottled into a computer screen, or to doing the same thing over and over again. Stay in your routine. It's safe in that space. There are little dangers. There are no, limited risks to it. Now you are now realizing, I want to do something. I want more for myself. And that voice is telling you, don't go for it. You might just fail. This thing that you have, you might also lose that, which means you might lose on both ends. You are saying, oh, I hear you. I've seen you. Acknowledge the fear. I have that fear. We all have it. Nobody wants to really fail. So, yes, I know I might fail, but, it's the but that takes you further. Now, the fact that you've acknowledged the fear, you also know that the cause of that fear is because now your mind, or you've told yourself, you need to do something different to change your direction. You need to do something different, attempt something new, leave that space where you exist for the past 5, 10, 20 years. So now you understand the reason why you have fears. It's because there's a possibility of failure. There is a possibility, and I won't really call it failure, but let's use that term. It's a possibility that you might not succeed. You might not get what you want. You might not get the outcome you desire immediately. So yes, you acknowledge that I have this worry, this constant voice in my head, this wall, this barrier, this thing that's preventing me from taking the next step. Yes, once you've acknowledged it and you understand that the reason why you have that in your mind is because now you know, or something in your mind, in your system, in your body, in your physiology is telling you the moment you take this step, you might fail. And if you fail, maybe people will laugh at you. Maybe that's your biggest worry in life, people laughing at you. Or, we all seek validation. Maybe when people see that I didn't do this well, they will speak badly about you. And as petty as that might sound, it usually, most of the time, it brings you back. So what's the next step? What should you do to counter these things? You might, challenge negative thoughts. No matter how short a life you've lived, you've gone through a situation where you had to walk that path, where you had to do something different, do something new, be it school, be it getting a new degree, be it jumping out and going in a relationship, anything at all. Because you're taking a risk, something is telling you, I might not succeed. And somewhere along those lines, you did something different. Even for maybe your current situation where you feel safe, at some point in your past, you didn't feel safe in that space. You had to get yourself beyond the fear of failure before you got to where you are. Now, that same thing is not telling you, hey, don't move past this space. It's your safe space. But you've done it already. You've gone through that phase already. You've done it before. And now you're asking yourself, you're able to ask yourself in that situation, what's the worst that can happen? If I attempt this thing, if I try this new thing that is coming to my head, what's the worst that can happen to me? What is that crazy thing that might happen to me? If it's not, if it's never happened to you before, then don't do it. But I'm pretty sure somewhere along the lines of your life, every one of us have experienced something we call failure, something that we really don't want to happen, but it happened. You have different responses to that, but it happened nonetheless. What I will do next is to break it down. If challenging doesn't work, then I break it down into little pieces. Oh, I want to build a bridge that takes me from north to south. Oh, I have a barrier somewhere. There's the ocean. There's a big body of water. There are government regulations I have to fulfill. These are the things that I need to now break it down into little bits and pieces that tells me, oh, the first thing to do is to attack this particular one, then go to the next one, or go to the next one. Sometimes we view fear as a sum all of a series of events. The moment you break it down into little pieces of things that you need to do to get past it, it becomes a little bit more easier. It be a little bit more bearable to the mind, where you're like, oh, truly. If I'm taking it step by step, if all I have to do is just take one step a day, maybe study. Sometimes you want to get a degree. Someone breaks it down into for you and says, oh, all you have to do is just spend 1 hour every week to study. And in 6 months, and in 1 year, you are definitely going to earn the degree. At that point, you're like, wait, 1 hour a week? That's not so bad. I can do that. So, yes, you now become better at fighting the fear, at facing it, and getting past it. Some of us develop, coping mechanisms where, you find things that you do that takes your mind off of it. I walk around, for example. I would gesticulate. I would sometimes get up in an interview and walk around. Sometimes I want to have a meeting, a talk with someone. Maybe it's a difficult conversation. Before it, you see me walking around, pacing myself around, and talking to myself, essentially practicing what I would say during that session. Those are coping mechanisms that help us deal with the fear that we're experiencing in that moment. It is because I've accepted the fact that, oh, I'm going through this fear. This situation I want to face, I really don't want to face it. But I've told myself, I've got to do it. So, yes, I do it. Sometimes all you need is support. Talk to friends, talk to family, people that can help you take on that emotional burden, take on that emotional load, and like to make your work easier, make your work a bit lighter. Those are the things that you can do essentially in those times that would guide you and help you get past that phase of fear to a phase where you're actually doing what you need to do. Till next time, see you around.